Welcome to Who Knew. We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and here we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights into the modern regeneration of the show. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WhoKnewPodcast. All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com. You can leave comments there, or email us at whoknewpodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram and Twitter account. Tweet at us at whoknewpodcast, and find us on Facebook. Today's episode is the Day of the Doctor. It is the 50th anniversary special. And this special is written by Stephen Moffat, directed by Nick Horan, and originally aired on the 23rd of November 2013 and was originally watched by 10.18 million viewers. So not only was this broadcasted on the BBC, but it was also presented in theaters.
Oh my gosh.
Worldwide.
And Frank and Brian, you both went.
Yeah, they did a simulcast. They did a simulcast, so the entire world saw it at the exact same moment. So our thing was at 11 o'clock.
A.M.?
A.M.
Yes.
And that's because it was 7 o'clock in London. But they did it all over the world. They did things in Sydney and Japan and Brazil. It was a worldwide simulcast, and it now has the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest simulcast in the world.
It was awesome. It was really fun.
It was
to
so
be there.
fantastic.
Everybody was so hyped. So it was a great to see it in the community and knowing that it's worldwide. It was just a lot of fun.
This was, it was so clandestine, if that's the right word, that the 50th anniversary fell on like the peak resurgence of Doctor Who. Like the show was so huge at this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, it was great. And it was in 3D and...
Which also at the time was like the biggest
that was the big new
like
thing.
sliced bread. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple little intros specially made for it. So we had Strax, a little promo of Strax saying, "Don't talk or I will disintegrate you." Matt Smith did an intro, but I can't remember what his intro said. Do you remember, Frank?
I do not.
Yeah.
Hold on. It just says here that the second featured Matt Smith and David Tennant instructing viewers to put on their 3D glasses. Could that be it?
Could be. Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
But it was so amazing to be, and it was the entire theater complex. You walked in, this was there's 14 theaters in this place. They walked in and they said, "We're showing them in all of them. Pick one."
Wow.
That's crazy.
It was amazing.
Which theater did you go to?
Howard Hughes.
The Promenade
Off the 405 freeway.
at Howard Hughes Center.
Yeah.
Where I used to work, Kelsey.
Oh, okay. I know that theater now. Took me.
Yeah. I used to live in that area too.
And just people were dressed up, and we went with a couple of Doctor Who fans from my work, and it was just so much fun. Just the cheers. I mean, it was like watching a Star Wars movie back when they were good. And just everybody just going crazy when people would pop up, or, oh God, it was so cool. It was so much fun.
We just got there a little bit beforehand, maybe an hour, I think less.
Mm-hmm.
And then they let us in, and so that made it a lot more fun that it was just happening. You just
I think
had to
we also
go there and go in. It was great.
Didn't we also switch theaters because it was like,
We did,
I want to see if I can find a better seat in another theater.
We did.
Yeah, and we did. Yeah.
Some of us held those seats we had. The
Yeah.
others went to go look, then texted, and it's like, okay, we're leaving over to the other one.
Strategic.
Sounds just like Comic-Con in Hall H.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
Yes, that's what it was. Oh God, it was just serious. And then the cool thing was we got out of the screening and drove home, and we were able to watch its BBC America premiere that night at 5. So it was like we repeated it right away. And then it came out on Blu-ray 3D. And
But do anyone know if it was shot in 3D or did they
Yes.
kind of like retro?
No, they
Really?
shot it in 3D. Yeah. That's why it has all that director's wibbly wobbly, I'm always showing you glass breaking in and out, because those was for the 3D.
And I bet some of the Zygons, like particularly thinking when Cade Stewart, like upchucks.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, was it 4D? Did you get like spray?
No. The best two moments that I remember, one are the painting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was
because
cool.
because this one when they pull the painting, it just looks like a normal painting, and it's not until they walk up to it that you see the image widening.
It's such a great effect, though, even on the
Even on
screen.
the 2D, it's great. But in 3D, when they pull the tarp off the painting, it's immediately 3D, and you're like, whoa! And then the other moment that I remember is the eyes, Rose's eyes. And she's like, "Are you afraid of the big bad wolf?" And the eyes glow. They go really, really deep in a 3D effect.
Oh.
Huh.
So cool.
Very nice.
This isn't scripted or planned, but was everyone's first reaction upon seeing this mostly positive?
Yes.
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 I would think so, yeah.
I did not hate it, but I think I enjoyed it better this second time.
Good.
I
Well-
have this problem where I have such ridiculously high expectations for things I'm very excited for that sometimes I sabotage myself. And I did like it. I wasn't like, but I had to reconcile a few things with myself. So anyway, that's why I asked that question.
No, it's good.
But it does get criticized a lot. It gets criticized that it's not a 50th anniversary. It's a modern regeneration of the show anniversary.
Oh,
Like it doesn't really. I know.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with any of it, but I do know that it has faults. But I don't care. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with it, because that's, I think, more of what it is, but that's what was happening at the time, and they were, these are the current people that we have worked with.
Absolutely.
So I don't have any problem with it. I can understand their point of view, thinking they're going to do some 50th, but this they kept in the storyline of what was happening. They didn't. I think if they were going to try and do it more with the other, it would have to take out of that storyline, or they'd have to do a lot of money to try and deep fake the other doctors into it, or really, which wasn't big at the time. They didn't have anything that really worked.
I don't even think they had that technology at that time.
Right.
Also,
Or they'd have to edit all the stuff from other episodes, and it just seemed a little bit too convoluted. I would have liked a little bit more of the other doctors towards the end, but I'm happy with what we got.
I think it was great because you would have alienated millions of people if you had included a lot of old Who, which maybe
Right.
that's just a biased new Who thing to say, but I think it's better to go the new Who route and then drop in the fun Easter eggs for the people who have been
Oh,
here
yeah.
Agreed.
longer.
Yeah, so the people watching it are the new Who fans, not the old fans. So that's why I think they went that route, and I'm okay with it.
I mean, what if they did like a "This Is Your Life" game show?
All right. Okay, so yes, today's episode is the Day of the Doctor. Granddad Sanshu's Chinny. Hi, this is Eugene. Let's introduce ourselves.
Hey, it's Heather.
Hi, everyone. It's Kelsey.
Hello, this is Auburn.
Hello, this is Frank.
Hi, this is Brian.
And I'm Josh.
The Doctor and Clara are taken to London's National Gallery by Kate Stewart. There has been a disturbance in the Undergallery, housing great threats to England, which Queen Elizabeth I made the Doctor curator of. They are shown a 3D Time Lord painting of the last day of the Time War. The Doctor had stolen the moment, a weapon of mass destruction so complex that it had gained sentience, and taken it to a shed in a deserted part of Gallifrey. While trying to use the device to destroy all the Daleks and Gallifreyans, a woman shows up asking what he is doing. The Doctor comes to realize that this woman is the moment, in a form chosen from his past or future. When she calls him Doctor, he tells her not to do that. He has lost the right to be called the Doctor. The moment says he'll face consequences if he ends the war this way. Gallifrey will burn, but he will survive. She prophesizes that one terrible night he will count the number of Gallifreyan children that he has killed today. To show him what this will turn him into, she opens a time fissure to his future, and out pops an unexpected Fez. In England, 1562, the 10th Doctor enjoys a quiet picnic with Elizabeth I when his horse shapeshifts into a big rubbery Zygon. Soon there are two queens, each claiming to be the real Elizabeth. As they argue, a time fissure opens, startling the Doctor, and out pops an unexpected Fez.
Yay!
Wow, that encapsulated a lot.
Okay, can you read the first two sentences again?
Well, let's start with the beginning. Now that we have seen classic Who with the first Doctor, I love that it opens with the black and white original title sequence. And then from then, it goes on into still in black and white, but modern day camera footage on a police constable walking by the I am Foreman 76 Totters Lane sign. But then it goes up again to the to the Coal Hill School, and then underneath it, it says a sign that Ian Chesterton is now the school's board on the school's board of, or the chairman of the school's board of governors. I don't know if you caught that.
Did not.
And then on the opposite side of that, it says that a W. Coburn is headmaster, which is a reference to Anthony Coburn, who wrote The Unearthly Child, and the W for Waris Hussein, who directed that pilot.
That I did not know. That was a good one.
that was like so many Easter eggs right there. It's crazy.
I love the fact though that the I am Foreman sign, I mean, it's right outside the school, so it's not right outside the junkyard.
Yep.
So I like how they wrote I am Foreman junk, whatever it is, or
scrap merchant.
With a big arrow pointing, it's down there.
And also it's blue, which I liked.
Yes.
Kind of a TARDIS blue feel.
Yeah, and I also like that the police constable is there, just like with the unearthly child. Still the same kind of the bobby hat.
Right.
I just love that.
And that Clara has a new job working at the school.
This is the first time that we know that.
Yeah, this is the beginning of every time we see Clara, she's been reinvented. It's almost like Amy and the I'm a model now kind of a thing. It does bug me, but it doesn't matter for this episode.
Yeah, I agree. For this episode, it does not.
It matters for me in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works with her character.
Yeah, but like, did she go to school? Did she have a teaching license? Like,
yes, so many questions.
Yeah, it's that part-time companion.
She's just like, I'm qualified to teach about Marcus Aurelius because I met him once.
Oh, speaking of that, the quote.
I actually said that quote to him.
But that quote, it's waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one, which to me is now a reference to the 12th Doctor.
Yeah, that's a good foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I thought of that.
There's another Easter egg. There's so many crammed in this opening. When Clara leaves on the motorcycle, there's a clock in the foreground of focus, and it reads 5:16, which is the broadcast time of An Unearthly Child.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So this Day of the Doctor aired on the 23rd of November, which is also when An Unearthly Child aired in 1963, though.
So that's really cool.
At 5:16?
Uh-huh, at 5:16.
That's British TV for you.
Okay.
Prime time wasn't a thing yet.
No ads, yeah. So You didn't have a full hour.
I mean, that's cool. But like, I would never be able to remember when things were starting.
Okay, so now switching to something I always find is weird and bugs me is when Tom, the other teacher, comes in and he does that like slide on the floor. It always looks fake to me. It looks very staged.
Maybe that's part of the 3D effect.
Oh, she was writing on the whiteboard and we saw it from the other angle. Like, do you guys remember Frank and Brian? Was the writing like farther out towards you?
I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
I did get a chance to read the whiteboard on the second viewing, and I don't know if you guys caught, she had written "no more time."
Mm-hmm.
No more comes into play very soon.
Yeah.
Riding the motorcycle was fun. Getting there was fun. Her snap through leather gloves.
Ah,
A little bit too much.
I didn't notice that she was. Yeah, that's funny.
Also, why is she able to do that?
Yes.
Because her and the TARDIS are cool now.
We're friends now.
She went.
The TARDIS and her are friends because she saved the Doctor, then she saved the Doctor, and then she saved the Doctor and the Doctor, and then she saved the Doctor. So.
All right, I guess that's acceptable explanation.
And he's wearing Amy's glasses.
Aw.
Yes.
Oh.
It's funny. I was expecting him to be reading the novel, but then he's reading Quantum Mechanics or something.
Yeah, quantum mechanics.
So it serves the purpose of the back and forth between the two of them. Teach anything good, learn anything new? Nope.
There's also some fun Easter eggs with the first scene between Oswin and Kate. First off, Kate's ringtone for the Doctor is the TARDIS.
Yep. That's our personal phone, by the way.
And Kate they're in the tower, and when Osmond runs up, is it Osmond or Oswald? Oswald.
Osgood.
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 Sorry, so many Oz's. Kate's saying the ravens are looking a little slow, and that's a reference to an English myth, which is as long as there's ravens in the tower, the monarchy will stand. But if ravens ever leave the tower, the monarchy falls. So the Tower of London always has ravens in there.
Didn't she say replace their batteries?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Saying, but she says it's another Easter egg. She says, tell
Yes.
Malcolm to replace the batteries.
Malcolm!
Yeah.
From Planet of the Dead.
Yeah, the unit guy who was like, I get to work with a doctor. Oh my.
He invented the Malcolm as the
That's
unit
right.
of measurement.
That's right.
So,
and then Kate will mention him again later.
Big fan of that guy. Love that guy.
I know. I wish they had put him in again because he had such a presence in the Planet of the Dead.
Very memorable. I don't usually, I mean, you guys know me. I don't usually remember random characters, but I remember Malcolm.
Real quick, going back to like a historical thing, the police constables are nicknamed Bobbies, and that came about because of Sir Robert Peel. He oversaw the creation of London's first organized police force. So the nickname for Robert was Bobby, so they called the police constables Bobbies.
I feel like I'm learning so much British knowledge today between the Raven thing and that.
We're not done.
No.
Also, the time of shows starting.
What do we think of the gag where when Unit saw the TARDIS, they didn't even check if he was inside. They just grabbed it because, oh, the TARDIS is here. We gotta, it's just abandoned. We must grab it and bring it back to the base.
I just kind of brushed it off, but not.
That's one of those moments where you
enjoy
go, this is totally awesome, and don't think about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. They know the doctor's there somewhere, so get the TARDIS so he'll come to us. Is what I was thinking.
No, I mean, I did enjoy the joke of like, why didn't you just call? But I just thought it was funny.
I'm thinking of all the people in real life who saw the TARDIS flying.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that would have been something to see.
Did they have crew of people through London to get everybody to sign an NDA?
No, actually, that's what I was just going to say is I mean, they knew everybody was going to see that, and it was definitely all over the internet. So I think it was a really smart marketing move to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
And if you see when they land the TARDIS in front of the gallery, you can see the crowd literally standing in front of the doors of the gallery. They had like blocked everything off like 20 feet beyond where they were filming, and the stairway up all the way into the gallery, that was all blocked off. But behind that stairway, you just see these people standing there staring at everything that was going on, which you can in universe explain too. But it is kind of like you were just walking by and you know.
But it added the air of realism. What's going on? Let's see all this. So it was perfect. I loved it.
and in this section, when Osgood is talking, or Kate is talking to Osgood about how do we spin this or explain this away, they mentioned Darren Brown. And I looked him up. He's used in a lot of audio dramas and printed works of Doctor Who. So I think it's like a running gag.
Darren Brown is an English mentalist, illusionist, painter, and author. So he's kind of like that. I can't think of that guy's name.
Blaine.
David Blaine.
Yeah.
So it would be like saying, oh, just tell him David Copperfield is responsible for this. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Again?
Yes, that's exactly
Yeah.
what it is. And it's like, we send him flowers, like we use him all the time as an excuse. So.
Got it.
I also like that we don't have the typical time vortex opening credits. They feel more like the Sherlock opening credits.
They very much do.
Yeah. But it works. I like it.
Oh, it totally works. And then I still get a thrill when David Tennant's name pops up.
Oh, yeah. I especially like it when Matt Smith is dangling from the TARDIS and his name comes up.
Yes.
Definitely the opening to that whole outdoor scene is a lot of fun. And I think you can kind of see even like the actors are having fun with it. David Tennant and the woman who plays Kate, like they're all just full of energy in that first scene outdoors. Do you know the timings of like when stuff was shot? Like, was that a promotional thing over London like in the months before?
Ooh.
Or was
That
it
I
shot
don't know.
later?
I would imagine that they had to do like permits that took a little bit more time to do the London stuff. So maybe they did that first.
I remember
just-
it wasn't like a thing. They knew that news media would cover it. So when they were reporting it, it really was just kind of like, and look what happened over the Thames today. It wasn't like, it was kind of like publicity was using the media because they knew the media would just cover it.
Well, it's the BBC, right? So the BBC has got to report on, look at what our BBC other show is doing.
But I mean, the news would.
Yeah.
So sorry, I don't have any info on that. I can't
Okay,
find anything.
all good.
Oh, we get some artsy shot choices when the Doctor is revealed, the painting with that close up on his eye, and then it goes to out of focus shots with him grabbing Clara's hand, and then it racks focus. So I'm like, oh, this episode's a little different. We're doing something more artsy.
Very.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Definitely had like a budget.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the budget. And who is not used to that?
And the phone call that you knew would somehow pay out later on, but didn't know
Oh.
what was going on.
So good. I love it. And then we get to the part with the Gallifrey and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's next.
Okay, it's next.
Mhm.
The war
This is the
room.
whole Queen Elizabeth on a picnic.
Yeah, it's Queen Elizabeth first. Okay.
Oh, is it first? Okay.
Well, I mean, you have it here.
We've already.
Elizabeth the First. Yes, it is Elizabeth the First, and she's riding on a horseback out of the TARDIS. Nearly beheaded her, but that's her thing to do. So that had a lot of little fun play. But it just seemed odd with the Doctor trying to smooch and marry me. The setup for the whole. Aha! I knew you weren't the real queen because she wouldn't marry me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just did that to get. We were dropped in the middle of something, so we don't know what his plan was before, or.
Plus fan
Right,
service.
but haven't there always been references in past Doctor Who episodes that he was married to Queen Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yeah, there was one, and then there was also another one where Elizabeth says the Doctor is her greatest enemy,
Mm.
and that's because he ran out on her.
And that was in the Shakespeare
This.
Code.
Shakespeare Code. Yeah.
Yeah.
The end, she comes to get off of his head, and they run away because he goes, "I wonder what I did."
And now we know.
Oh, that I'll be right back. No, he's not coming back. But the war room stuff that I was thinking of happened before this. This is when they were talking about what the moment is.
But But in the summary, are we there? That's why I'm
I
asking.
had to cut it out.
Okay, so I can talk about
right
it.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They're on Arcadia. They're being attacked by the Daleks, the Time Lords, and Gallifreyans are. And the Time Lord that reports that Arcadia has fallen and sees the TARDIS is the same soldier from the short The Last Day.
Yeah.
That's the actor Chris Finch. And that's where the War Doctor gets that rifle and shoots no more into the wall.
In English.
Yes. or
Shows how we're
with
perceiving
is
it.
it being
shaped letters
translated?
like they were a font.
The TARDIS is right there.
It's translating the blast fire. And yeah, sure.
Oh,
We've
I love
seen-
how they make.
We've seen that.
We've
We've
seen-
done that before.
We've seen Gallifreyan before though too, written out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But can you imagine trying to use a blaster to make all those circles?
He's like, start over, Kent. Start over.
And
Oh,
it
shoot,
also
that's
translated.
That's a
the
swear
message.
word.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how they make a point of having the Doctor ask to borrow a gun.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And clearly, that was
he's had it.
done intentionally.
Yes.
Mhm.
But it's happened before where River left a message for the Doctor where no one could read it
On the mountain.
Yeah.
on the mountain. And when they got there, the TARDIS translates it.
Mm.
I like the little when we see the beginning of the generals walking into the war room, and one of them says the High Council is working on a plan, and the other general, the bald general, says to hell with their council, to hell with the council. Their plan has already failed, and we've seen that plan. That's the plan that's going on in the end of time when David Tennant regenerates, and that's when you find out that the Time Lords are trying to kill everybody except the Time Lord, and that's the secret that comes out in David Tennant's final episode. And so it's like it deals with the master and all that kind of stuff. So I like the fact that they just kind of do a little wink to that other episode and then just to hell with that and move on.
I'm glad they said something though.
Yes. It's funny going back to the Doctor writing no more in English. When I first watched it and then that Dalek sees it and he's half dying and goes, explain. I was like, yes, explain.
Oh, but the Dalek explosions in that section were really complex. Like you saw the little Dalek organisms in the explosions.
Yeah, because the TARDIS just like plows through them.
Oh, and
Oh yeah.
there's like Dalek. There's some flying around that don't look like Daleks we've seen, but they look more like dog fighters or
Yes.
something. Do you know?
I think those are the Dalek, like if it was an X-wing for a human, it would be sort of like that, because
Mhm.
I want to say we saw it early on in Russell's run, but then they stopped using them. They just use the Daleks as it's their exoframe, but also their spaceship as well. I think to cut on budget.
Mhm.
But they did have a couple of those early on in like season 1, I think.
I like the look of them.
And we see them again.
Yeah, they got like a tripod sort of
Mhm.
thruster thing going on.
There's a couple great lines in this area too. The Queen says to the Doctor, "You're very impertinent. I'm the Queen of England." And he says, "I'm not English." That was a great line. And then the other one, this is like my favorite in the whole episode, is he can't get the moment to start, so he's like trying to figure it out. And Rose says, "Always stuck between a girl and a box. The story of your life, Doctor."
Yeah.
And it's just, it's so funny.
Well, then once he gets it going, it turns hot, and he goes, "Oh, the interface is hot," and she's like, "Well, thank you."
I do my best.
But speaking of the 10th Doctor with the rabbit, I don't know why, but that's just funny to me this last week, where he's going on his
Tear?
it's almost, yeah, it's like a speech to, "I'm going to tear you down. You are the enemy. I am the oncoming storm, this and that." And then, "Oh, you're just a rabbit."
You're basically just a rabbit, aren't you?
Yeah, that I think Moffat wrote 10 well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, they were all of 10's lines were 10. Like,
Yeah.
it was like he never left.
Mm-hmm.
It goes ding.
Why isn't this working? And then when the time fisher shows up, "Stand back. It can be anything. Anything can happen. For instance, a fez." The way he says that. Oh man, it's like like you said, he never left. It's so good.
I did like that the moment. Are we going to be calling her Rose or the moment or
The moment.
The moment. I like that the moment realized that he parked the TARDIS so far away, so the TARDIS won't be witness to what he's doing, because he walked for miles over to this cabin to set it all up. And it's like, I thought that was a good point, because I didn't understand it and didn't really think about it. But her putting that in there made a lot more sense.
Yeah,
And-
I also appreciated that because I had that question.
What does the button actually do? Because he obviously and the TARDIS are on Gallifrey and they don't get exploded.
They were going to be, though. And then it was the moment that said, "Oh, okay, you don't want to live? Then that's your punishment. You will survive this." So they were going to blow up too.
So
But
it's
it
so
was the-
complex that it can like blow everyone up but them.
Oh, yeah.
If that's the case, why can it just like not blow up the children? But anyway, I digress.
Because it has to be poetic and ironic.
All right.
This only happened once, and this is the way it happened. He never
Oh,
blew up
yeah.
the planet. This isn't altering the past.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so they never died, and she
That's
knew
right.
they weren't going to die.
They find out the
Fixed
truth of
point.
what happened, because
Right.
they've all forgotten.
Yeah, because she's showing him what he needs to see to get
To that point.
Yeah.
See, and that's the crazy timey-wimey part, because then
Yeah, it's an effect and
All-
then cause.
all of
Rather
10
than cause
and
effect.
11, like,
Mhm.
Or if you
But
don't
that's
want to,
yeah, time travel can do that, but it's the effect before the cause kind of thing.
then if you don't want to think of it that way and think about it the other way, as the moment is blowing up the planet, she picks up the Doctor and throws him through the time fissure, and he lives.
And he comes
I'll
out
take
on the
it.
opposite side as a fez.
I did like that Rose came back, that Billy Piper came back. I thought that was excellent. And I kept thinking, who else, which other companion would it be? And I thought possibly Donna, because of their relationship they had. But I think Rose was the perfect form
Yes.
to pick,
Yeah.
because Rose helped right after this. Rose was the
Mhm.
being that the Ninth Doctor first brought on as a companion. He did a few other things where they showed at the beginning of his run with Titanic and the, was it Krakatoa?
Krakatoa.
So he was there, and I guess he's like trying to save one or two families or do something, but it's just like he's trying to live past what he just done. And Rose is the one that helped him to open up and change. And then through the whole 10th Doctor, their relationship. So I'm really glad Billy Piper was able to come back, because I think that was the right character.
Yeah.
Also,
and-
I like the moment more than I like Rose. I think this is her best performance. I love this performance.
well, when we were at Rose City Comic Con and she mentioned what was one of her favorite lines, it was "no more," right? I think
Yeah.
I
think
think
so,
that's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
they didn't actually announce what her capacity was going to be when they said she was coming back too. So
No, they didn't.
nobody saw this coming.
Right.
Nope, not at all. Because he just assumed it was Rose.
Naturally.
And some people were disappointed because Tennant and Rose didn't have
A moment.
Scenes.
Yes.
they didn't have scenes between each other, and it is a bit of a disappointment. But yeah, you can't get
It's
everything.
better this way.
It's better this way. It's totally better this
Less
way.
is more. Less is more.
Especially with that little, oh, bad wolf girl, you were right. Wait, what?
And they don't even, just move on. They don't even dwell on it. I
They
love
just
it.
move on, yeah. There's too much going on right then.
Yeah.
Wish she had more time with David Tennant.
Yeah.
And sometimes people like revisiting old characters, and sometimes actors are like, I've already done that. So I think it was really neat that this show gave her an opportunity to come back, but then play another character episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's why you get the eyes. Her eyes flash.
Very cool.
And also another reason why it's great that it's that character who had such a tie to the TARDIS as well.
I also think, though, and I mentioned fan service really quickly earlier, like Doctor Who, I think they wanted to have Rose, but people were kind of like, oh, this is fan service. It's always Rose and the Doctor. So I think
That's what a 50th anniversary is. Fan service.
Well, yes. I think there's really nothing wrong with fan service if it's not oversaturated. But this was sort of their way of being like, haha.
Right. And I did like Matt Smith realizing what was happening.
Which part?
With the Fez.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because it's his
which made no
timeline, but
sense to
it
me.
hasn't happened yet.
Until the end when they're like, we won't remember this.
Yeah.
But at the time I was like, how would you not remember this monumentous occasion?
Yeah, I spent most of the episode kind of putting a pin in that thought, like, how are they not going to remember this? What am I not remembering?
Made sense later.
But I love how the doctors argue that.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't remember this? Well, you're the one who lived through it.
It kind of reminds me of like when Alburn brings up the Bill and Ted aspect of time travel. I saw this particular moment of this is what happens when you do set those things in motion, where things are sort of in flux, where whatever you do now will affect what happens later, but you're in it now instead of reaping the benefits of what Bill and Ted do.
I've never seen the movies. Entering the undergallery, the Doctor can't resist popping on a fez, and Kate shows them more 3D paintings that have had their glass broken from the inside. The figures in the painting have disappeared. At that moment, a time fissure opens. Vaguely remembering this, he takes the fez and flings it into the fissure. Crying Geronimo, he jumps into it himself. Back in Elizabethan England, the 10th Doctor is picking up the fez when the 11th Doctor pops out. To test whether they can return to London through the fissure, 11 tosses the fez into the fissure, but Clara reports that nothing has come through on her side. Suddenly, a man jumps out of the fissure and asks if anyone has lost a fez. Recognizing him as the Doctor during the Time War, they both react with surprise and apprehension. The War Doctor says he's looking for the Doctor and cannot believe that they are him. The 3 Doctors are arrested and taken to the tower, which 11 is very happy about. Clara and Kate can hear him, and Kate remarks that he's very clever, and they go to Kate's office, the Tower of London. In the cell, 11 picks up a nail and starts scratching on a stone column, and 10 wonders why they are all here. He says that the War Doctor knew they would be here, so who's doing all this? The moment is visible to the War Doctor and signals him not to reveal what is happening.
When Matt Smith walks by the fez, his reaction is priceless. And then Clara's response to that, someday you could just walk past the fez. Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. We have a photograph of we're in Walt Disney World and they were selling fezzes. So I put a fez on and Frank took my picture and I'm literally doing that. And I love
Happy
that
face.
photo. So
It's just so good.
and also one quick little plot point. Did everybody, because I didn't at first until I watched it several times. Did anybody realize that Kate walks out of the undergallery?
Mm-hmm.
You see a shadow of a Zygon, and from that moment on, she's the
copy.
Zygon. So,
Yeah, when she comes back,
they do get
they-
their memories. My God, that man is clever. So
Yeah, when she comes back, you're not really focused on her. But
right,
if you
and
were,
she's
I
acting
was
a
this
little
time.
off.
She did. It's like, oh, she's not her now. It's like, so she did that really well and subtle. So when you know it, you can look at it and pick that up.
I like the Witch of the Well. He means you.
I don't want to be the witch.
Off you pop! I'll turn you into frogs.
I thought they would somehow reference, or he was trying to tell her something about the episode they had in the 70s with the witch in the well.
Yeah. Hide.
I really wanted one of the other doctors to be like, your companion sucks.
Truth hurts.
Oh man. But like that, the whole thing with 10 and 11 meeting, like I just wrote all of those lines down.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's just so good when he just snatches the fez off of his head, and then they like assess each other in like a weird, like almost kung fu like way. They're like, and then they pull out the screwdrivers, and they're compensating.
Regeneration is random.
And that's where they start talking about sand shoes.
Yeah, and I
Yeah, they're being
It's-
more adversarial, and then they both put the glasses on. And when the glasses
that's
are on,
their
it's like,
moment.
oh, we are the same. Okay, cool.
yeah.
Oh,
And then
that's
all of a sudden-
lovely.
And then when the War Doctor shows up, suddenly it's the two of them versus him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a really funny dynamic as well, because he's like, oh god, these dandies.
Oh my god, you're me? Even
You must be
even
his
that
companions.
one? But I love is like, even that one? Tennant's like, yes, even that
Yeah.
one.
Well, before that, before the War Doctor comes through the fissure, 10 and 11 use, or there's an Easter egg where they're reversing the polarity of the fissure, which is a third Doctor reference, but then they're both reversing the reverse. It's like, how can you not remember this? Hold on, this isn't my fault. You're obviously not paying attention. Reverse the polarity. It's not working. Well, we're both reversing the polarity. Yes, I know that. There's two of us. I'm reversing it, and you're reversing it back. We're confusing the polarity.
That I liked. We're just confusing it.
I feel like if they ever get tired of acting, they should just have a variety show together or
should-
something.
That would be great.
I'd like to see them do a version of Who's on First in character.
There's also that moment when
Who's on first?
Who's
is
on
very
first?
funny.
I didn't
love
even think about
John.
that.
Yeah.
yeah, but they would just say who's on first and oh yeah, okay,
I am.
and move away.
I am.
We're
Yeah.
done.
I am me.
I'm also on second,
Who?
third, fourth.
Me.
And when 11 is
Fourth.
explaining that the two Elizabeth, one of them is a Zygon, and
Yeah.
or 10, sorry, 10 is saying one of them is a Zygon, and 11 is just kind of like, oh, I'm not judging. I'm just saying venom sex in the mouth, in the tongue.
Can someone quickly explain sand shoes?
10 issues.
Yeah, but why do
Sneakers.
they call them sand shoes? Like, I don't get it.
It
Okay,
says, according to the internet,
So I looked it up.
Com-
Oh, did you look it up,
okay.
Heather?
you
Go
go
ahead.
because
No,
you-
I talked too much. Go ahead.
No, this is your role. Your role is like the explainer. So please.
Go ahead, Heather. Heather.
Heather.
I'm literally just reading a phrase off Google.
Let's switch. Heather, go ahead.
Oh, look, I
Explain it.
accidentally clicked it away. It's gone.
Oh my gosh. You reversed the reverse of the polarity. Okay, so they were called pumps or plimsoll shoes, and they became initially beach wear, so that's why they were called sand shoes.
They're terrible beach shoes.
Oh, I know. Can you imagine?
Scottish and
Wow, I feel
Australian.
like that's not at all what I found.
They would
before I
get
clicked-
they get full of sand.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
And sand is coarse and it gets everywhere.
Horrible. What did you read then? What did you read?
Commonly used for corporal punishment in British Commonwealth, where it was typical gym shoot. What am I reading?
I don't know.
TARDIS fandom says that sand shoes are primarily a Scottish and Australian word for sneaker. The implication in
Right.
the scene is that the 10th Doctor thought their shoes meant for running, whereas his other selves said they were walking shoes.
Oh my god, clearly they've never tried to run in those shoes. They're not made for running.
No, they're not. I don't know how.
Although they used to play basketball in them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The NBA used to use them. I don't know how they did that.
One thing I did not like, and the more I watch it, the less time it seems to take, but it seems the first time I watched it seemed to take a long time, is them figuring out about the stone dust. It's like, it wasn't there before. How many times have you come down here? It's like, come on, put it together, all of you.
It worked for me.
Yeah, but they're.
I thought it was cool from as an outsider who'd never been down there before.
Right, but there seemed to be something strange. These creatures have come out of this painting. You don't know where they went. There's glass everywhere, so that's where it came from. It's broken. There's stone dust everywhere. Where did it come from?
They were
You know, like
working
the
on the
glass.
glass first.
Well, they even had a line where they searched everywhere for them, but nobody
Yeah.
picked up one of the blankets over the statues.
They searched everywhere.
Come
They
on.
looked in the fridge. They looked under the bed.
Well, if
Osgood
we're,
got it.
and if we're talking about like secret places where potentially alien artifacts are held, you think they'd have a panic button somewhere down there. Like if they do get out or something, you could press a big red button and say, "Hey, there's aliens here," instead of just
Yeah.
the elevator. But yeah,
Well, they didn't know about the paintings. They didn't know what they were. I can understand them going.
they're
"No,
still
I don't."
alien artifacts, aren't they? They were 3D, like the Gallifreyan one, right? Or were they just landscapes?
But they've been down there or around that. I mean, Queen Elizabeth is the one who sent them there.
Mhm.
So they've been around for a while.
No, but they were time. They even said it's Time Lord art still.
Yes, they did. I think
the
they
war,
did.
The War Doctor says.
So
They
wouldn't have
were
thought
they
of
were
it
in the
being a
under
Time Lord art.
gallery. Yeah, they were in the under gallery, not the Black Archive.
So this is weird. This is something odd. We put it there, but I could see them not thinking anything's going to happen with it. It's just
Yeah, because to them it would just be art. That's why it's weird. They are in the under gallery and then they get moved later to the Black Archive.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you reminded me of going back to Elizabeth when the soldiers surround the three doctors, and then the 2, 11, and 10 bring out the screwdrivers, and then the War Doctor says, "What are you gonna do? Build a cabinet or assemble a
Yeah.
cabinet at them?" Which is a callback to River Song's line from Day of the Moon.
right.
10 points the screwdriver at enemies for the same reason that 11 points Jemmy Dodgers at enemies. Because the enemies don't know better, okay?
Okay.
That's true.
All right. That's true. All my notes are quotes.
Yeah, there's a
lot.
point.
It's very
so many
quotable.
good quotes.
Yeah, there's a point where it
It's-
all becomes quotable.
It's
Mhm.
all quotes, you know? It's just companions. They get younger all the time. Nice work, Dick Van Dyke. I mean, it's just so good. And that's all character bits. This whole thing is character.
Hmm.
I don't care about the plot.
In the present, Kate orders the cell to be searched for a group of numbers from around 1550. She and Clara go to the Black Archive, which is a section of the tower so secure that not even the TARDIS can get in. In the cell, a unit worker photographs the code that 11 carved into the column and sends it to Kate's phone. The code is for a vortex manipulator that can be used to find the Doctor. But Kate, it turns out, is a Zygon in disguise. Clara grabs the manipulator, enters the code, and zaps out of the archive. So there's an Easter egg here when, or before maybe, Kate realizes there are multiple doctors. She asks Malcolm, this is the second time she brought up Malcolm, for one of her father's files codenamed Cromer, which is a reference to her father, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, at first believing that the antimatter universe from the three doctors to be in Cromer. And then also this is also another reference will pay off later, that the Brigadier's grandfather, Captain Archibald Hamish Lethbridge Stewart, lived in Cromer with his wife and kids.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
And they talk about Jack Harkness.
Yes, with the vortex manipulator. Did you guys catch the code, the access code? It's 1716231163, and this is a reference to time 1716 and the date 23/11/63. That the first episode on Unearthly Child first aired.
5/16 November 25th.
Yep. So 1716 in military time is that right? 5/16? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of stupid of the Zygons to just like leave Clara standing there with the vortex manipulator with a photo of the code conveniently there.
She just threw up, so maybe she was adjusting.
Well,
Oh.
I kind of also think that Kate, of all people, would have auto lock on.
Yeah. Well, and Kate even has those lines about the Clara saying, "How come don't Americans have this?" or something like that. She references something. No one can know we have this, not even our allies. Why not? Think about it. Americans with the ability to rewrite history. You've seen their movies. Oh boy, that was great.
Yeah, it's funny because it's
It's good.
And then the not bulletin boards, but like whiteboards with all the companions on them. That was really nice. I bet you there's more than we can see. I bet you the set people and the dressing, they did them all.
I think they are all in there.
I mean, I can make out, of course, Clara, and I think Susan.
Susan, Barbara, Ian.
Susan.
Yeah.
Chameleon's even in there. If they put Chameleon in there.
Oh,
they would
yeah.
have it.
Yeah, but I would have liked to seen like a panning shot or something. Maybe they cut it out for time, but I bet it's all on there.
Yeah.
Going back just slightly, Osgood being duplicated, I thought was interesting, and how the Zygon is just putting her down so much.
Mhm.
Which is like being such a big bully. Oh no, you're not as pretty as your sister. I would have had that. Oh, you have a defect. I hate that. And Osgood just going, yeah, me too. Just pulls the rug basically out from under them. It was great.
So in that sequence there that you talked about, Frank, they had like close-ups of the Zygons advancing, but not showing us the advancement. It was always close-up. So was that part of the 3D effect in the theater?
We'll have to get together and watch it all because I don't remember. I haven't
This
seen
was
it in a long time.
2013. I gotta remember that.
It just seemed an odd choice.
But they did a bit about her getting back her inhaler,
Yeah.
which is like, so she and the other one already know some, it's like, that was a nice setup. So we knew who was who later on.
So are Zygons original to this episode, or do we have them before? Because it's such a good name.
Yeah, that's another Easter egg. Those are a classic Who villain.
So that was nice that they brought that back for the 50th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they look similar, like
Yes.
shapeshifters? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they did.
But did they have like the gross barfing effects and the morphing?
No, but they had all the red suckers and the big heads.
That was some crazy effects.
Yeah.
For Doctor Who.
Well, it's nice that they can be shapeshifters, so you don't have to have them all the time. You can still get your regular actors doing villainous things, and you don't need to act through a rubber mask.
Also, the real villain in this episode was the button, the Time War situation. Like, the Zygons are really just to add more drama, I suppose.
Right, but I also appreciated that what the impetus for what they were doing was because they lost their planet in the Time War.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think they mentioned that their homeworld was destroyed in the first days of the last Great Time War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, first casualty.
It's what's it called? A civilian, like a collateral damage. Like it's not a Dalek planet. It's not a Time Lord colony. It's another race.
Well, they kind of, we've seen that before, and they do kind of establish that everybody's collateral damage. The only people fighting are the Daleks and the Time Lords, and everybody else just gets killed along the sidelines. So it's like, these people aren't fighting in the war, they're just getting the consequences of it. So I like that.
And we even saw that in the webisode leading up to the 50th. That's why that pilot had such a negative reaction to the Doctor when she realized he was a Time Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the reason why the Doctor became the War Doctor.
Well, and the universe is now saying that the Time Lords are just as bad as the Daleks. The Time Lords who kind of used to help people against the Daleks are now just as bad as the Daleks.
And Heather, I'd argue that it was the War Doctor who was the big bad rather than the button.
Yeah, I was going to say that initially, but then I felt bad blaming the Doctor. But
well,
I think it was more the idea. The big bad was more the idea of, are we going to kill everyone or are we not going to kill everyone?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anybody evil in this. It was just, that's what I liked about it. Also, there's
but
not
the
good guys,
Zygons
bad
were
guys.
it was still totally, I think, necessary to have a physical villain in addition to this. But it's not like they were the main focus.
Right.
Right. They were very much the catalyst for how this progressed. What they did, how they were able to, the doctors were able to use what they did a different way. So, they needed that to show them, oh, here's how they did something to try and take over the planet. We can change that around and use it a different way to help us.
It's almost like,
let's find that out. Sorry.
It's almost like the Zygons are red herrings because they don't really matter at the end and they're literally red.
You need an obstacle. Oh, go ahead.
I'm thinking they did matter so much because they're the ones who gave the way to solve everything.
Going into the paintings.
Have we talked about the little explosion
which
scenario
one?
yet? Where they work together?
Not yet.
You need some sort of physical threat, a physical obstacle to up the physical stakes in this side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So throwing an alien and they were smart enough to make that, which, like you said, like the solution to this threat tie into the solution for the whole plot in the first place. But otherwise, they would just be sitting around discussing how they're going to handle everything. So
yeah.
you need some sort of Doctor Who. The 50th anniversary has to have a Doctor Who alien. So where are we going to put it? Well, that could be the threat in this timeline.
If they had just those 3 doctors sitting around the console room eating cup of soups, I'd have been
Right.
very happy.
Exactly.
As 11 scratches the code into the column, the War Doctor speculates that a sonic could disintegrate the wooden door, but he and 11 realize the calculations would take centuries. The moment tells the War Doctor that this is all history for them. He asks them if they have ever counted the number of children on Gallifrey that day. 11 angrily says that he doesn't know. What would be the point? 10 immediately says 2.47 billion. Livid, 10 yells at 11 that he can't believe that all it takes is 400 years for him to forget. The moment tells the War Doctor that this is what he becomes if he destroys Gallifrey. The man who regrets and the man who forgets. Then cryptically she says, it's the same screwdriver, same software, different case. Looking at his sonic, the War Doctor realizes that 400 years would be enough time for the sonic to make the calculations to disintegrate the door. He quickly scans the door. Catching on, 10 studies his sonic, calculations in progress. 11 checks his, and the calculations are complete. The moment says, same software, different face. 11 remarks at how clever they are, and Clara bursts into the room. The door was unlocked. The Queen enters and explains her dastardly plan. The Zygon's world burned in the Time War, and they need a new home. Using a crystal stasis cube, the Zygons are embedding themselves in Time Lord art, where they will wait until the Earth is more interesting. The Queen is revealed to be the real Elizabeth. She has Ten's TARDIS, and he has a promise to keep. And just like that, they are married. Ten promises Elizabeth that he will be right back, and everyone enters the TARDIS. They try to head for the Black Archive.
So yes, this is a cool scene, Heather, with all the screwdrivers.
So, I mean, what they were going for with that gag, I was all in on that. Like, I was so excited that we found this amazing solution that took all these years to open that door, and then Clara just walks right in. It was never even locked, and I was like, "Oh, you got me! That was hilarious."
And her attitude. The three of you are all in here and nobody tried the door.
But I like the way when they first said, like, how did you get in? I like how she's like, it was unlocked. Like, it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's the first thing you should try.
It was good.
And just using the motif of the Sonic is the same as the Doctor.
Mhm.
Right.
They're all the same person. They just have a different face. It's like, this is Moffat at his best.
I agree there.
Like, Brian, I think you said like you think of this for the characters, and I think part of the reason is that the plot is simple enough, and like even this moment, right? Like we don't get the payoff here because that payoff is coming at the end where the doctors have all that time to calculate, or maybe it was more like Matt Smith has been thinking about it for 400 years. But yeah, so those little plot like circles are very well arced. Like, you know, they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So you don't have to think about the plot as much because it is just like fed out at a good pace. So you can't, there's more time for characters.
Yeah, I agree. The balance is finally walked in this, whether too much plot or more character stuff. And I think he did it well.
I really like how they stuck to the characters that we know and love. Like David Tennant is the one who regrets his doctor, and Matt Smith's doctor is the one who forgets. And I don't think he necessarily forgets, but he chooses not to remember.
He has moved on. He had to move on.
He had to, yeah. So and of course, then you have the War Doctor who is observing himself in his different stages and kind of coming. Well, no, I guess he doesn't change his mind about anything yet. Anyway, erase that part.
Well, no, but the moment that they do the screwdriver thing, that now kind of all three of them are now joined a little bit. You know, they're all three of them are happy with each other. So,
and I think they have an understanding of each other, like of their different where they are mentally at different stages in their life. Because David Tennant is upset at first that Matt Smith's doctor has forgotten, but then Matt Smith says, look, if I'm going to be alive for a long time, like, you got to do what you got to do to survive. Yeah.
It was very organic. It totally made sense for them to be acting the way they were at each point in the story.
And the fact that it's all the same person just even makes it cooler, because you're like, oh my God, he's just angry at himself and his own choices and his own changes.
Like they say, we are our own worst enemy, and it's like it's a great example of what happens here.
Yeah, Also, it is a callback to the Three Doctors because
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The second Doctor and the third Doctor are the first ones to get together in their reunion episode, and they really don't like each other all that much. But when the first Doctor shows up, he's like, "That's what I become." What does he say? A hobo and a dandy.
And then dandy because of the frilly shirt.
The frilly shirt. It's like, I become a hobo and a dandy, and they really, and because it's the first Doctor, he really never gets over that.
Can someone please explain to me Doctor's aging? Because the War Doctor when we first saw the War Doctor, he was younger, right? You said he was a young John Hurt.
Yes.
And then of course Matt Smith ages, and no one talks about it, but David Tennant is obviously older, and so is, well, I won't talk about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think Moffat has a thing about the age of the Doctor in general. He is always trying to age up the Doctor, and really, I don't think he wants it pinned down how old the Doctor is. I think he likes it that no one knows how old the Doctor is. And Tennant was always so very specific. I'm 903 years old. And the ninth Doctor was, I'm 900 years old. I don't think Moffat ever really liked that. Because in the classic show, it was all over the place. I mean, the Doctor...
But I mean like the actual Doctor getting older.
Like their appearance.
Like, physically.
Oh, because they're actors.
Yeah, but do they try to work that into the story sometimes? And I don't really...
Yeah, they age.
They just age extremely slowly. Like,
I get the impression that the War Doctor was fighting the Time War for like 100 years. But
that aged him faster.
That's what I'm thinking. Because if I remember correctly, I think McGann was supposed to be in his 800s.
Yeah, because unofficially, like, I think Tom Baker, being the fourth Doctor, was supposed to be 400 years old.
Yeah.
And then so when it gets to Paul McGann, the eighth Doctor, unofficially, he's supposed to be around 800.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then it's more of a question, not why did John Hurt, not the War Doctor, age, as much as why didn't the 11th Doctor age quicker? But he's already the
12th Doctor should age really fast, but we won't go there yet.
Like the 11th Doctor has lived way more time than it took the War Doctor to age. So if the Time War
started off the youngest of all, so.
No, but that's the one part
Doctor?
with the whole couple hundred years. We became 1200 in the diner. What's the episode? The
Day of the
Spaceman? Yeah. So that
Day of the
I always
Moon.
thought,
Day of the Moon.
Day of the Moon.
Impossible Astronaut.
That one always, that's where I think we get a lot of the confusion. It's like that one they shouldn't have said. They shouldn't have put the year on it or something more vague where you found out from the different point in time.
Yeah, but even this episode, the 11th says I'm 1200 something.
Because that's
I
after
don't remember.
this.
He's
after
forgotten.
the,
He's
astronaut.
forgotten. I just made up 100 years. I just kind of took that from the McGann thing. But also, we didn't, like someone said, was it Eugene? We didn't get a good look at the War Doctor when he regenerated.
We got a good enough look.
Just saying.
I like the idea that the Time War itself aged him more for whatever reason, maybe because time was getting screwed up itself, because it's a time war, so he aged faster or whatever. But the fact that they never that's a piece of logic that we as humans in the real world can relate to. The timey-wimey stuff, all the stuff, we can kind of forgive little bits of information that they don't give us. But aging is something we can totally relate to, and I feel like they need to explain that at some point, or at least give us some clue of an idea why.
Well, especially because of something that happens at the end of this. So I guess we can come back to it.
Okay.
I mean, if you really want to blow your mind, read the aging of the Classic Doctor.
That's what the book's called? Aging of the Classic Doctor?
No, I'm saying Google it.
Oh, okay.
And have fun.
Well, Josh, you reminded me of a line earlier when the War Doctor is asking what's going on, why are there three of me here? And then the 11th Doctor says, it's all just timey-wimey. And then the 10th Doctor goes, I don't know where he comes up with this stuff. And which is great because Moffat came up with that line in Blink with the 10th Doctor. So it's just funny that the 10th Doctor's like, I don't know where he gets this stuff.
Yeah.
And then later the War Doctor, is this related to the timey-wimey?
Oh, it's just so many quotes or lines that I just want to write down and quote.
What's up?
I thought somebody was going to mention Elizabeth's line of "I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman." I thought that was going to piss you guys off. But there's a reason behind it.
It was the time.
Yeah.
That's her most famous speech. She says she's trying to convince her soldiers that I'm the leader and you're just going to have to deal with it and you're going to rally behind me. And she says, because this is what they think, I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king and a king of England. So it's her rallying cry. But I like how they put the line in and then they didn't finish it. Elizabeth is like, I may be weak.
But the Zygon was weak too.
But at the time, so was she, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, wow, okay.
I don't know. It didn't bother me because of the. I thought about it, certainly it crossed my mind, but I was like, it is interesting how they kind of didn't.
Came off well.
It did, but it didn't.
No, with her going, and they didn't even thought that a woman could beat the Zygon. It's like that didn't even occur to him, so I just walked right in. It's like no problem. It's just
that's true.
That's the problem with them. You mean the Zygon? No, men. They have no recognition of someone's power.
She pulls that little knife out of her. Whatchamacallit there?
Her garter belt, I think.
Thank you. Yeah.
Married. Really got married.
Yep.
Does this happen a lot? It begins to.
I actually really like that line.
I did too.
It starts to, yeah.
Because then Marilyn Monroe becomes one. Or he gets engaged?
Yeah. Engaged.
Get checked out.
Hey, Eugene here. We had a great time discussing the Day of the Doctor. You can tell we had a lot of fun, but I'm going to split it up into 2 episodes because we didn't want to cut anything out. So stay tuned for part 2 of Day of the Doctor. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time when the future becomes the present.
You've just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady.
Find him on Facebook at The Universe Explodes.
All our episodes are engineered by Allburn.
You can find him at albertbinkley.com.
You can also find this show in several places.
Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast.
Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher.
Or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/whoknewpodcast.
All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com.
Visit our Facebook page. Please leave comments, reviews, and click like to help support Who Knew Podcast.
To listen to our show on your Amazon Echo device, enable the AnyPod podcast skill. Ask AnyPod to play the Who Knew Podcast.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who,
the longest-running sci-fi show in history.
And especially the revival, spearheaded by Russell T. Davis.
Thanks to Russell, Sydney Newman,
Verity Lambert,
Ron Grainer,
Delia Derbyshire,
and all those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
Your work continues to inspire and entertain.